Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Arinia Garcia. Welcome to A.I.R, where we clear the air in the artistic world. So today we are interviewing Meghan Greenwood. She is born and raised here in Pennsylvania. We actually chatted a little bit before we did this interview through Zoom. So I did get to know a little bit more on a deeper level. But some of my footage, actually my audio got lost, so I couldn't really put it on there to share. But overall, she is a co-owner of BAM Choreography, a professional writer, a fitness enthusiast. I know she teaches a lot at PBT schools, I think, down in the city. She also is, what else? She has her PhD in immunology. I think I'm saying that correct, which I thought was really cool, and overall an artist. So stay tuned, and I'm so excited for you guys to get to know her. All right, bye. Very interesting. So I wanted to ask you again about your dance training. I know you're from in the area of Pennsylvania, so I wanted to know a little bit more about your background of in dance.
Sure. So I started dancing at a very young age, and primarily because of two reasons. One being MTV. As a 3, 4-year-old, when MTV was new in the 80s, my parents, got it on cable and were like enthralled by it, right? So it was on in our house all the time, and basically I stood in front of it and danced all day long. My mom always used to call it the best babysitter she's ever had. So because of that, plus I was also born with my feet facing inwards. And the doctor recommended that they break my ankles and reset my ankles at a very young age. And my parents had a very, weird reaction to that. They weren't super excited to do that. So instead, they talked to some orthopedic surgeons and things, and they recommended, orthopedic shoes and things like that, but also dance class, because they thought that that would help my turnout and just get to, my knees working a little bit better. So that was the two primary reasons I think my parents first put me into dance. I started at, I think, age 5, and ballet, tap, jazz, all that fun stuff. Did that for about, it was a local studio, did that for, I want to say, if I'm doing my math right, like 4 or 5 years. So by the time I was in double digits, I realized my real passion was like the jazz side of things, like the street styles almost. So we actually had a family friend whose daughter was taking these classes with Joyce Ellis, who still lives in Washington, PA to this day. She was Person of the Year this year. She taught very much street style, hip hop, things like that. And she was pretty much all over the community doing events. So she was a big name back then in the early 90s, still to this day is a name in the Pittsburgh area. And so we went to see one of her performances. And my parents were like, yeah, that's what Meghan needs to do, because this is where her energy is, and she's excited about it. So I joined the Joyce Ellis Dancers, I believe in 1995.
I was born in
stayed there.
1996.
Say it again.
I was born in 1996.
Oh my goodness. You're making me feel even older than I already feel. So yeah, and I was there for it was under 10 years, because then I went to college, but it was a joy. Got to dance at some of the like festivals in the city, on top of like Steeler games, parades throughout the city. We went to Cleveland for a couple of shows for the basketball team there. I mean, she was very much a performer and highly sought after in the Southwestern PA region. And at that point, I just knew, I was like, I need dance in my life, even if I have to go to college now, and maybe I'm not going to be a professional, quote unquote, like dancer, but I still need it to be a part of me. So in college, I pretty much took a break, unfortunately, from formal classes. I took some, informal things and joined a couple clubs here and there. But after college, came back to Pittsburgh. So I went to college in Penn State, which is in the middle of Pennsylvania, very much secluded from the cities. And when I came back to Pittsburgh, a friend of mine who I had danced with at the Joyce Ellis Dancers said, hey, there's some space downtown in the cultural district in Pittsburgh that they are looking for some dance teachers. Would you be interested in partnering with me? And she had reached out to one other friend of ours, so like a trio, that we could collaborate and basically kind of rotate who would be teaching, and just kind of leave it open for anyone, any age, any experience level. And I was like, yes, sign me up. So I have Tara Armstead and Shannon Paleota to thank for sort of jump-starting my Pittsburgh dance career, from bringing me under their wing and starting classes downtown. And at that point, like I said, it was open to anyone. We weren't like restricting it to any specific dancer or dance type. For the most part, I taught hip hop style, and we did that for several years. And then once my sister, Brianna, got to out of college, I guess, if I'm thinking about this correctly, she's about 6 years younger than me. When she got out of college, I told her about what was going on downtown Pittsburgh, and she was a little hesitant at first, but eventually I got to pull her into it as well. So there was, the 4 of us kind of rotating teaching. We also had a couple of other guest teachers at the time. This Dana Bannon, who owns Page Boy Salon in Lawrenceville. Name drop there if anyone knows her. And then a couple other gentlemen actually that we'd have on rotation, friends of ours, Mike Orsini, Matt Milley. And it just became such a vibrant society in and of itself, because we weren't pulling in, like I said, we weren't pulling in the professional dancers, but we were pulling in the people that love to dance, that maybe danced as kids and still wanted to do it as adults. Yeah, so it was super exciting. We were there, like I said, for a couple years. And then Tara and Shannon, a lot of things went on with them starting families. They went back to school, kind of things became a little too hectic. And at that point, I ended up moving to, what's it called? name's escaping me, Bloomfield. Bloomfield at the exercise warehouse in Bloomfield, and I rented the upstairs boxing gym basically to hold classes, and that's around like 2010-ish, and that's when we coined the name BAM Choreography, because at that point it was just Bree and Meghan, B-A-M. So that's where we like officially started in Bloomfield, 2010. We jumped around and taught there for several years. We taught at Full Body Fitness, which is now Iron City Aerial, for several years in Brentwood. And then around 2014, 15-ish, after having my first baby, I moved over to the Pittsburgh Ballet Theater to teach weekly classes on top of all of our other creative outlets through BAM, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, that's kind of how it all progressed. The training, as I said, like mostly was from Joyce, but obviously I've taken classes up until now, up until the current pandemic, just different classes in Pittsburgh, whoever was offering, you know, at Millennium, Level Up Studios. I train at Iron City Aerials and Aerial Silks, do yoga, things like that. So I stay active and try to always be a patron to anybody offering adult dance classes in the Pittsburgh area.
It's amazing, all the stuff that you've done, and you continue to still collaborate with those people. It's amazing.
Thanks.
So you mentioned to me in the last phone call about your writing. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I also was like, I saw you have a blog.
Yeah.
So you do post a lot of stuff in writing, so that's really interesting. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Like how you
Yeah, so because I didn't go the professional dance route, I wasn't technically trained to go that route to begin with. I focused on science in college. So I went for microbiology at Penn State, and then I got my PhD in immunology at University of Pittsburgh. And at that point, you know, I was basically a lab rat, doing a lot of experiments, doing grant proposals, writing publications, things like that. And as I kept writing more grants, I realized like the actual process of writing is what's getting me super excited, not necessarily like the research aspect of it. So I decided to jump ship during my postdoc. I was there for like a year. I took a quick postdoc, and then I went to a small biotech company in the South Side for a while, did some more writing there, and realized after I had my first kid, again, my heart was pulling at the writing side. Like, why am I holding back? Just go, you know, jump feet first. So I got a medical writing position back in 2016. And been there ever since. And I mostly work on clinical trial results for pharmaceutical companies. So if they, you know, the COVID-19 vaccine trial, for example, I'm not writing it, but if they were to come with me with the results, I could write them up and then send them to the FDA. So that's my day job as it stands. But in addition to that, I'm doing some accountability coaching on the side, which I'm just helping people with goal setting. And with that, I've been doing like the blogging to keep people, you know, engaged about what they want to accomplish in life, and trying to really help a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting out as well, because that seems to be, you know, especially in this current environment, side hustles tend to bring a lot of satisfaction, even if they aren't super duper money makers. So I understand that, being like a side hustler myself, and so I'm helping people with that, and that's a lot of what the blog is about as well.
Definitely, even especially during these times, like people are trying to do different things, and then
Yes,
having your space to give advice and to give people that outlet gives them an even more chance to succeeding those things. So that's awesome. That's very awesome.
Yeah, the opportunities are out there. So it's just a matter of like maybe holding someone's hand for the first couple steps. Like, you can do this, just try this. And then they're like off and running. It's like, yay, good for you.
I also saw that you did children's like booklets. Is that right?
Oh yeah, that's part of it as well. I guess I forgot to mention that.
You're like changing the whole world. I love it.
Well, yeah, so the children's books stemmed from having kids myself. I have two little boys, 4 and 2 years old. reading to them every night, and their retention of the information is mind-boggling. They're just such sponges because they have nothing else clouding their brain at this point, is my philosophy. You know, they don't have to be stressed about anything, so they have all this capacity to learn. And reading these books, I was like, wow, I could totally do this about some scientific aspects, so some STEM related fields. And so what I did was I started gathering parents and who had, like, I call them esoteric careers because they're not super well understood, especially from little ones. You know, you can tell a child, like, what's an astronaut, and they'll have an idea. But if you tell them what's a biomedical engineer, you know, over their head. So I took some of those really, like, complex concepts and started writing super simple books. And I consulted with a lot of professionals in the careers. They're self-published through Amazon, but I'm up to 13 books right now. So yeah, that's going well. I just have a real hard time suppressing a new idea, and then it gets me into trouble because I have all this stuff going on at the same time, but it's super invigorating. I'm an input cray.
That's amazing. Your food.
Got it right here.
Okay, perfect. You do. Okay. I think AJ has mine prepping. So that's amazing that you do that. Oh my God. I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I could do that. That's amazing.
Well, you do a lot too, my dear. So don't downplay it. I mean, when I saw you dance, I was like, wow. And then I saw you in person dance, and it was a whole new experience. I'm like, this girl.
Thank you. Thank
She
you.
knows what's up.
Thank you so much. Speaking of writing, how do you feel with the writing in the dance world? Have you touched base, or have you done anything around that?
I haven't really explored it enough. I see some things, blogs, things like that, that are interesting, but I haven't read a whole lot of in-depth type writing surrounding the dance and dance culture. Although everything that's happened this year, for example, I reached out to you, I think a couple months ago, about some hip hop curriculum, has really kind of sparked an interest under my butt to dive deeper into all of that. And I don't know if I would ever consider writing about dance from a professional aspect, because again, I'm not a professional dancer. However, I could certainly probably touch on the community aspect of dance and what it does to bring people together, which is pretty much my whole philosophy for BAM and for why I continue to do what I'm doing, even if it's not super lucrative or super, well-renowned. At least it gets people together, gets them having a good time. So that part of it I would consider writing for, but I haven't really touched into that yet. It's making me think, though. You're making me think.
Yeah, no, because like since now that I'm in school, I've never really like noticed how important writing is, like in any topic, because
Yes.
it's always changing, it's always creating conversation, especially like in the dance world with everything that's happening. Like you hear all these stories, like what is happening in this? Why is this happening there? But it's just because of the writing is coming out. But it's just really interesting to hear that. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's such a knowledge-based culture now, right? So everything's available, and being articulate and able to craft a message is, I think, like you said, one of the #1 skills that most young people need to learn, most young professionals need to learn. I've actually done a couple seminars in high schools in the surrounding area about like professional writing, because sadly, like at least I'm looking at my niece and nephew and people who are still in, you know, grade school and middle school, high school. They don't really write in complete sentences ever, right? Except for maybe their English class. They're constantly texting and emojis and things like that. So the art of writing, I hope anyway, doesn't go away, but I feel like it needs to be fostered a lot more now and made a really big like focus on it.
The uses of technology is also changing that. So yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
I know right now I've been struggling with like writing a couple papers. Like now, like in school, I think I had like 7 back to back. Like I was just like, I don't know. This is hard.
It is. It's tough, especially when it's when it's an assignment too, I think that's an extra layer of complexity, right? Because it's something you have to do, you're getting graded on it, there's pressure behind it. Whereas, you know, if you're doing it just to have a voice and just make things known, there's some pleasure that could come with it too.
Right, yeah. Oh my gosh. Writing, yeah, it's hard for me, but I'll have to keep up. Okay, so I'm gonna try the food.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
So this is, I think, chicken with peppers and onion, created by AJ.
Delicious.
Hope you enjoy.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's the spot.
You did say you like pizza, so.
Yep, you got me. When I opened it, I wasn't expecting that.
What were you expecting? What were you expecting?
I thought maybe some sort of casserole, but then I opened it up and I was like, oh, pizza. My favorite.
Okay.
So, is AJ your boyfriend?
Yes.
Brother?
AJ is my boyfriend. Yes.
Thank you, AJ. It's delicious.
Thank you.
No. He cooks for me all the time.
You're lucky, girl.
I wanted to ask you some fun questions now.
Sure.
So here I go. Oh my God, this is really good.
It really is. I'm not gonna want to eat dinner later. It's just too good.
You have a whole plate. Yeah.
That's a good point. I can share it, I guess.
Yeah. So. How long until YouTube takes over the TV network? How long do you think that's going to take?
My goodness. Good question. Well, I cut cable several years ago, so I'm adding to this takeover. 3 years.
3 years?
Three.
Oh, 3, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone's on YouTube.
YouTube. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if all the streaming services get bought out by the giant. Yeah. There's no need for competition. Monopoly, I could see happening with that.
Monopoly, yeah. And like even with dance and film, like all those like new dance movies are coming out. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up. There's so much.
Yeah, new creators. It's amazing. Do you think that jewelry hinders or amplifies the artistic side of dance?
Ooh, good question. So my personal bias is always to leave jewelry out of most performances, videos, things like that. Mostly because it either doesn't fit the theme or I don't want to come across as being pretentious with some of the choices. So it's kind of like trying to take it down a notch. But that being said, in professional dance productions, I could very much see a cultural aspect tied to jewelry, where it accentuates the music and the costume itself, and it really adds to the performance. As long as it doesn't hinder the dancing in any way. Big old hoop, that's really hard to dance in. Yeah, you can kind of see both.
Sweet. What was the most fun piece you've ever been part of?
Ooh, that's another good question. Fun piece. Probably we did a collaboration. BAM did a collaboration with Bethany Hall, who's a local choreographer as well. Summer of 2019, so last summer, 2 summers ago. We did a collaboration to a Prince song called Controversy. We got a group of like 20 people together. We found a dead-end street in the south side of Pittsburgh that overlooked downtown as well as like the river and did a video shoot there of the dance, and it was really, really fun. Just everybody was so theatrical and really into it, and it was just a really nice bonding experience.
That's amazing. How long did that project take?
From concept to finish of the shoot, I'd say 4 months-ish. Wasn't too bad. We were able to recruit a lot of people quickly at the time and find rehearsal space and just get everybody rallied behind the project really, really well. It was probably one of the smoothest performances I've ever done too, which is probably adding to the enjoyment.
Okay. Who was the most influential dancer to you as you were growing up in Pittsburgh?
My teacher, Joyce Ellis.
Joyce Ellis.
She was the most influential. She was breaking barriers from the 70s onward in Pittsburgh. She was an African-American woman just starting out in her own business when she was a teenager. She brought street style to the mainstream, especially in the Washington, PA area. And she had a following across, I want to say 4 or 5 studios at the same time. She was basically jumping through all these different studios, and she had a wonderful following for many, many years. And yeah, I still look up to her, and as a very, again, not only wonderful dancer and a performer, but a community leader, someone who knows how important dance is to bringing people together.
I've never heard of this lady.
Yeah, you gotta look her up. She's got some history behind her. She's actually a huge advocate right now for underprivileged youth, and she runs the Lemoyne Center in Washington, PA. And like I said, she just got voted Person of the Year there. She does amazing things. Like her camps every summer, except this one, of course, with COVID, but her camps every summer would attract like 2,000 children in a gym. Like, and she'd be like, I don't even know where to put them, but come on in, because, you know, the more the merrier. I mean,
what you're doing was working, and it was helping the community, and that's what was needed. That's amazing.
Yeah, and she just helps them with education, with supplies, with outlets. You know, she invited BAM to help her a couple of times over the last couple of years with dance classes for those kids as well. So yeah, she's quite inspiring.
Wow. Yeah, I have to look her up. Oh, you may like this one. Do you find it more intriguing to be a dancer or a choreographer?
Choreographer.
Why?
Mostly because I like the thought process. I like figuring out moves that work with the music. I especially love doing the video shoots, like the dance music video concepts. That's like my bread and butter of like sitting there and thinking about how would this look and what should the people in the back be doing, and like visualizing that whole process is super exciting to me. Whereas if I was hired to perform as a dancer somewhere, my anxiety and nerves would be like up to here. And I'd be like, I'd rather be on the side, just like videotaping it. Although I do love dancing, and like I said, I take classes from lots of people, so I'm not super shy, but still choreography more.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Is there collaboration, without naming any names, that looking back was negative but has made a positive outcome for your life?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Yes. There is one that comes to mind. Do you want any specifics?
No. You could just talk
Yeah.
about I don't know if you want to share the experience or how you handled it or.
Sure. It was mostly, because we are such a welcoming group, we don't require auditions or anything like that to bring people together. Because again, this is not meant for you to jumpstart your professional dance career. It's really just meant for you to move again, to revisit your love of dance. Because of that, we have an open door policy. Anybody who shows and expresses interest, it's like, come on in, like have fun with us. Well, there was one particular person that we had worked with prior to them joining the group, because she had reached out and said, oh, I love you guys, I want to join. We did a little collaborative process just with her. She joined, she was with us for several years. And then unfortunately, she just decided she didn't like our values for whatever that was worth. And that really got me thinking, and it got me questioning some things like, what are we doing here? Is this really the kind of process I want for these dancers? There was a lot brought up about the fact that we aren't treating them like professionals. And so I got in touch with several people in our group, and I just said, how do you feel about this comment? And I didn't name names. I just said, how do you guys feel about it? 20 people who were sitting there, and none of them agreed. And after that, I took it very much to heart that we have a pretty good method. People like what we do. We're community-based. But at the same time, I think we need to be more upfront about what we are going to accomplish as a group, and be very specific about, this is for fun, really. We are not going to jumpstart your career. We are not going to likely pay you for all of these different videos if we don't have the money at the time. It's a lot of volunteer.
You know why the athletic world makes more money than the contemporary artistic world?
Oh man. The aesthetic world, is that what you said?
Contemporary artistic world, anything that's contemporary, abstract art, I don't know, whatever that.
Versus the aesthetic world, is that what you said?
Athletic.
Oh, athletic. Yeah, that.
What do you think about that?
That's a source of contention for me, because I believe especially dancers are athletes. I mean, I'm a firm believer. Any dancer, any cheerleader, any gymnast, I mean, all of them should be categorized as one. We're all athletes. You're moving your body in ways that requires huge amounts of stamina, huge amounts of endurance and flexibility. Why it's not at a level, especially in this country, of notoriety and just money being thrown at it, with sponsorships and everything else, is tough to say. I mean, maybe because of the infrastructure that's surrounding athletes, right? So you have typically, like in the case of baseball, for example, you have one city with one team, major league. And so therefore all those athletes are kind of pulled into that one group, and everybody rallies around it. Whereas in the dance world, contemporary art world, you have so many different people, groups, whatever, kind of going after that avenue. And the market, I don't want to say it's saturated in any way, but there's a lot more competition. So the amount of money that is pushed into the arts, unfortunately, I think either it gets spread too thin, or people just don't see, I guess, the value in having it, because if this one doesn't work, there's another one coming, kind of thing, unfortunately. But I think everybody brings a unique aspect to the table, and I'm a firm believer in funding the arts, for sure. There's so much research showing how wonderful it is, for kids especially, and even like adult dementia and things like that the arts, especially dance, could help with. So yeah, it's sad but true.
I know. It's crazy to think how much money, like tickets-wise, like merch, like so much coming in, the flow of money, and like the stadium, like itself, like we want a theater or
Yeah, I know.
But it is what it is. But we have to keep pushing and creating those voices to really hear us, just like the athletic world.
Yeah, I agree. I was hoping with the advent of all the dance shows, Dancing with the Stars, dancing, so you think you can dance, whatever. I thought that was like a real turning point for the dance world because in a lot of ways it put it in the forefront of people's minds.
It was like
And
making money too. Like it was like
yeah,
normal people were like viewing dance, but also it was also because there's different versions of kinds of dance. So they only saw what was put on TV, and that's also not good because you don't really see all dance.
yeah,
You
yeah.
just see the competitive version of it. But it's still good. We're still getting there.
Yeah, I think it's just a step in the right direction. We'll see.
Okay. Speaking of that, which big name brand do you think will make the jump and truly sponsor any artistic companies?
Oh man. Mm, I could see, I don't know if this is a big name brand, but like the athletic clothing retailers like Athleta, Lululemon. I think there was a couple like Chelsea Collective was one of them at one point. You know, I think those are skirting around sort of backing the dance world. They tend to advertise with dancers a lot. Like there's always, you know, the ballerina in the sports bra or whatever. So I could see one of them. One of the big guys like Nike and them, I think they're too committed to the regular quote unquote sports to really jump there. What's that?
They see the money, or I mean, they get the money, obviously.
Yeah, I think it would be great for one of them to do that though. It would be they would be a pioneer in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Okay. Cereal brands.
uh-oh.
1 second. In 30 seconds,
Oh geez.
and I'll time you. So 1 second.
Oh man.
You can't think about it now.
Oh geez. Okay.
And ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Rice Krispies, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms, and Trix.
Tricks. I would never pick that. 22 seconds left. That's great.
Can you tell I have kids?
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
2.
2? Oh my God. I didn't know that. Amazing. Oh, well, those are questions for today.
Thank you for inviting me and for the delicious food.
And yeah, we basically clear the air in Pittsburgh with artist talks.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much again.
No problem. Certainly want to touch on the community aspect of dance.